It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. You can email us at randykabc@gmail.com. And, of course, if you want to listen to a non-fire episode of this show, you can go search for the podcast by searching for the KABC News Blitz wherever you happen to get podcasts. We are awaiting Mayor Karen Bass, who's finally back from Africa. And as I'm just talking right now, I can't believe I didn't pull up Toto's Africa as a stinger every time we talk about Karen Bass. Unfortunately, we'll have to do that another time. But I have multiple feeds pulled up to see when she finally approaches the mic. It is supposed to happen shortly, and this is great. I'm looking up a feed from someone who has a camera inside the Emergency Operations Center from a YouTube channel that I subscribe to, News 11 Yuma. I don't know what Yuma that is, but they have a camera right inside there. And someone already commented, "How is Ghana, you absolute failure?" It has been a devastating day. It has been a horrific day, the most horrific, destructive wildfire day in Los Angeles County history, and that is saying something. So whenever there's a little levity, we have to enjoy it. But I am monitoring to see when that press conference happens. If you want to get on the line and you want to talk about these fires, whether you want to thank the first responders who are literally putting their lives on the line, you know somebody that was evacuated, you've been evacuated, you know somebody that has lost their home, feel free to call in if you want to vent, if you want to complain about the fire hydrants, you want to blame this on Karen Bass, on Gavin Newsom, what have you, or you want to speak your mind. This is your place to do so. This is your voice. This is KABC. So give us a call, 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. We will go to that press conference with Karen Bass as soon as it starts. But why don't we start with the press conference that happened last night? Well, this morning. This morning, there was a big press conference. Karen Bass was not there because she was still flying from Africa to Dallas, then Dallas to Los Angeles. There were a lot of questions to be asked about the fire response last night because the winds were so bad that we could not use our air suppression. Couldn't use the helicopters, couldn't use the planes, couldn't use the super scoopers. The wind was so bad here, it rocked my house several times. We lost power a few times, not for an extended period, although I know plenty of people that did. Over 1 million people have been without power. At one point, it shook the house so hard, and I don't know what was going on. My pipe started shaking. I had to start running the sink because I feel like my house was going to explode. It was wild. The worst wind I've ever experienced, and I'm born and raised here. And I'm just in the middle of the valley. And of course, to add insult to injury, I wake up this morning and I see all these alerts. Oh, now there's another fire at Woodley, at the same place where there's a fire like every month because the homeless live in the Sepulveda Basin. That one was small and they put it out quickly. Let's give you the numbers before I forget.
Hey, Randy, real quick. Was it for you? Did it feel like an earthquake without the ground shaking? Because that's what it was in my house. It was the shaking, the violent shaking, but the ground wasn't moving, and that was the tripping part about it.
Several times it felt like an earthquake. My house is on rollers. It definitely felt like the house was rocking. My wife didn't think so, but I'm like, this feels scarier than an earthquake. I've never felt that wind before in my life. The Palisades fire is currently at 15,832 acres. Over 1,000 structures have been destroyed. 2/3 of Pacific Palisades is gone, wiped off the map. The images are unbelievably horrifying. When it comes to the Eaton fire in the Pasadena-Altadena area, that one's been just as destructive. Over 5 casualties, 10,600 acres. Several structures have been destroyed, and the images coming out of the Altadena area are really depressing. The Hearst fire, we haven't gotten a real good update on that in a while in Sylmar. Hopefully they've got a handle on that, 505 acres. There's the Lydia fire up in Acton in between Santa Clarita and Palmdale. That one's 30% contained at 80 acres, so hopefully they have a handle on that. And the Woodley fire, it looks like they took care of that one pretty quickly. There was the Freddie fire out by Malibu. They took care of that one. But there is going to be a lot of questions asked about the response from just the initial 24 hours to the fact of, let's see, The mayor wasn't here, even though she was warned about this. We knew that this wind was coming because you heard Gavin Newsom say, we prepared. We put fire trucks where we thought they might need to be. Gavin Newsom politicizing it at yesterday's press conference, but there were a lot of questions for the new director of the LADWP, a woman who makes $750,000 a year, got a massive raise from the last director of the DWP. She had to answer for the fact that the fire hydrants were not spewing out water in the Palisades. We ran out of water. So what exactly happened last night? Let's hear it from her. This was early this morning. As soon as Karen Bass comes to that podium, we'll go to her.
I am Janice Quiñones, CEO and Chief Engineer for LADWP. I want to start by thanking everybody on this response. I've been in emergency management my whole career, and the collaboration I've seen in this response has been incredible.
She's new to the job. She just started a few weeks ago, and boy, is this a big test, and it's not looking good so far. Also, why did she need to be paid $750,000? That's another question for another day. The last director made $350,000.
Especially our first responders, our crews. I want to thank our crews that have been working on high winds, trying to restore power as fast as possible. And also county, city council, mayor's office. The mayor has been in contact with me all the time. And also other utilities in California have been proactively reaching out to us to help us with the restoration. So we're in the process of contacting them to ask for more support. I want to continue the...
Can we stop with the thanking and get to why the pipes weren't working?
I want to continue the thought process that Mark had about water supply in Palisades. We had a tremendous demand on our system in the Palisades. We pushed the system to the extreme. 4 times the normal demand was seen for 15 hours straight, which lowered our water pressure. We were pushing 75 CFS on our trunk line to try to keep water pressures in the system. If there's a message you take away from me today, is I need our customers to really conserve water, not just in the...
Wait, don't put this on us. Because I had to do my dishes last night. They couldn't put out the fire in the Palisades. That's not how this is supposed to work. We know these fires are getting worse. We know the wind is getting worse. How did we not prepare for something like this, especially when the Palisades is burned in the past? Okay, we're going to go back to Ms. Quiñones in a second, but I believe it's Karen Bass time.
I stand here today with incredible sympathy and concern.
She sounded a little jet-lagged?
About the devastation and the tragedy that our city and county are facing. And I definitely want to send my condolences to the families who lost loved ones, to the families and neighborhoods who lost property. This firestorm is the
somebody tired
big one in magnitude. Hurricane force winds are usually accompanied by rainstorms, but these are hurricane force winds that are combined with extremely dry drought conditions. To provide context, at 10:20 a.m. yesterday, the Palisades fire was at 10 acres. 12 minutes later, it was at 200 acres. To those who fled their homes, especially those who have lost your homes, our hearts are breaking for you, and we stand with you. I know the world is looking at images of our city's devastation.
And they're asking, where the hell were you?
I have seen the front lines of the Palisades fire, and it is staggering. I've been in constant contact with our fire commanders, with county, state, and federal officials. I took the fastest route back, which included being on a military plane, which facilitated our communications. So I was able to be...
So she didn't have to pay for roaming.
...on the phone the entire time of the flight. We are fighting for you and everyone in Los Angeles. Thank you to our first responders who waited in the flames, pulled people from cars, and got them to safety no matter how dangerous. And thank you to everyone who heeded our warnings to evacuate. Tonight, more people may get evacuation orders, and if they do, please leave immediately.
In the Palisades, that evacuation zone, the potential evacuation zone, has gone into Santa Monica. Look at those maps. It's wild.
If you have an evacuation warning, get ready to go. protect yourself and each other, and support our firefighters on the front lines. Our strategy included preparations and pre-deployment, and it now includes fire crews from around the state and from our federal partners.
How about some working fire hydrants? Can we get on that?
We are also adapting in real time. These winds continue to blow. So let me be clear. I am making sure that we leave no resource untapped. Firefighters are now on scene from across the state and across the country. I spoke with President Biden today and Governor Newsom earlier today.
And did Gavin try to make this all about himself?
And they assured me of full federal and state support. As we head into tonight, we are still facing strong and erratic winds. In Palisades and in Sylmar, we are very much in an active firefight. I can report to you that the Woodley fire, however, in the Sepulveda Basin is under control.
I don't think they're going to get a lot of questions in this, but if I was a reporter in the room, I'd ask, hey, Mayor Bass, why is there a fire in the Sepulveda Basin every 3 weeks? And why is it almost always the homeless encampment there?
I can also report that finally air operations have resumed, and that is a big deal, but it is up to the winds as to how long the air support can continue. But these conditions are highly volatile. We've seen a devastating fire in the Pasadena area. Fires have sparked up in Simi Valley and on the LA and Ventura County line. And as our firefighters do battle on the front lines, all of us must be vigilant. So if you receive an evacuation order, please leave immediately. If you receive a warning, get ready. Protect yourself and protect each other. And don't divert firefighters from our strategy. Signals are out and the roads have debris. So stay off the roads unless you are evacuating or have another emergency. Be prepared, food, water, medicine, a bag packed and ready.
Get that go bag going.
Again, this is an active situation. And conserve water to the extent that you can. We want to make sure that we are ready if we need more water. But
don't blame that on us. You know how much we pay? I see how much my wife pays that DWP bill. That's not on us. That is mismanagement. The director's making $750,000 a year. How much water could we buy for that?
No mistake. Los Angeles will rebuild stronger than ever. Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles.
You usually don't say the URL. She's turning into Biden, but she's very, very, very jet lagged. She's been on a plane for a day and a half.
Together is how we will get through this.
Wait.
Los Angeles.
Wait, did she give out a website? Hold on. I got to rewind this 5 seconds. I'm playing this straight off of YouTube.
All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles.
Again, you got to take the moments of levity where you can because it's a really awful day in LA.
Together is how we will get through this. You
can find all the information at URL. Oh, that's the kind of dumb geek joke that just tickles me pink.
Heroism of our firefighters, the vigilance of Angelenos, and the spirit of our city. This is a big moment. It is a big moment for all of us to come together, for Angelenos to be united, for Angelenos to be prepared to help each other. This is who we are. LA will rise, and make no mistake, I am confident that we will rebuild.
Can you go down to like the fire chief or somebody that is a little more relevant and not exhausted on this?
And with that, I would like to introduce LA County Board of Supervisor Chair, Catherine Barger.
We're going from her to Barger. All right, we're going to find out if Barger has anything interesting to say. But if you have something that you'd like to contribute to this conversation, you want to talk about these fires, you are outraged at the fact that we ran out of water last night in the Palisades, you're irritated with Karen Bass for being in Africa while the city was burning down, you're irritated at Gavin Newsom for trying to make all of this about him, Well, now's your opportunity to blast away, or if you want to give a shout out to the firefighters, the first responders, or you have something to say about these fires, give me a call right now, 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222, 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We'll go to your calls, and we'll see if anything else interesting happens from this press conference. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
We're a little late.
You're pretty late. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. Thanks, Art, for the assist. Karen Bass is finally back from Ghana to deal with this fire. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. If you want to comment on the devastation that's been going on in Southern California, if you lived in the Palisades, if you used to live in the Palisades, it is so depressing what's going on. Every report I see of the things that are burned down, grocery stores that are gone forever, the Gelsons in the Palisades, all of our friends at Gelsons, we wish you well. That is so horrifying. The Ralphs in the Palisades. We just did a story on that Ralphs. I was about to do another update this week on that Ralphs. The Ralphs that was in that fight with the food trucks in the Palisades. It's gone. The whole place is burned down. It is so horrifying what's been going on there. Let's go to Stan in Orange. Stan, hello.
Hey, Mr. Wang, you can also always Google the URL on YouTube.
Do a Google on YouTube.
I got to isolate that clip later and play it for Johnny.
Okay. Have a good evening.
You know who's really irritated today? It's Rick Caruso, because he's like, I wouldn't have been in Africa. Thanks so much for the call, Stan. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. Yeah, that is Phil on jet lag when she says, if you need any other resources, go to the website URL. Oh, that makes me happy. Hey, let's see if Catherine Barger had anything interesting to say.
Thank you, Marin, and I want to thank you for your leadership.
Why? How about thank Captain Crowley? Thank the captain from LA County Fire. You want to thank Karen Bass for her leadership? She hasn't been here for a day and a half.
When this first hit, we were in constant contact, so thank you for being a true leader to this great...
This is not the Golden Globes. This is not an award ceremony. The last thing we need is a bunch of elected officials thanking each other for what a great job they are doing. They're not the ones trying to put out this fire. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Dave in L.A. Dave, hello.
Well, did you catch it, Randy? She said two things that were absolutely ridiculous. She said, support the firefighters. Don't interfere with the firefighters. But everybody supports the firefighters, and nobody's interfering with the firefighters. And what about somebody saying on the program yesterday that she or L.A. County defunded the L.A. County or Los Angeles Fire Department by $20 million? Well, how about getting that $20 million on the table? To help.
You're right. The latest budget, there was a big deficit. They made a whole bunch of cuts, including to the fire department. They made sure they didn't cut the police department, but they did cut the fire department. And you can make an argument there are a lot of other places that they could have cut that weren't fire. And now we are seeing some of the effects of that. But you also... That was LA City. That was the LA City budget that was voted on by Karen Bass.
That's what the guy said yesterday. I thought so. Well, maybe that's why she's so in frenetic disposition. She sounds like she's just run the mild test in physical education in high school. You know?
I've sounded like that before. Dave, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. If you are being affected by these fires, you want to comment on these fires, you would like to light up Karen Bass for her half-ass response a day and a half late, or you want to go after Gavin Newsom, you want to go after the director of the DWP who could not fill up the fire hydrants, 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. More of your calls and more of this really important press conference. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails at randykabc@gmail.com, and follow us wherever you get a podcast by going to the KABC News Blitz on Apple Podcasts or whatever. Subscribe. Makes us look good. The fires have been devastating all throughout Southern California. The Eaton fire in the Pasadena area, the Palisades fire, obviously in the Palisades, the Hearst fire in Sylmar. It has been an awful, awful day. I've been here for almost 40 years. I was born here. I've never seen it this bad, never seen the wind this bad, never seen the fires this bad. The destruction in the Palisades is the most destructive fire in Los Angeles County history. And, well, there's a lot of questions being asked about our local elected officials, like where the hell was Karen Bass? Why the hell did Gavin Newsom try to make this about himself? And why did the DWP not have enough water for the fire hydrants in the Palisades? Let's go to your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Start with Joe in Santa Monica. Joe, hello.
Hey, I'm looking outside from my balcony in like mid-Wilshire district. I'm just toward the north of Wilshire, west of Wilshire. And it's been cloudy, it's been cloudy with smoke the past hour and a half. And I'm worried about the fire getting into Santa Monica Canyon. And then I went back and it was clear as a bell. I mean, it was just really clear. I'm looking at it right now and there's still some lingering smoke on the horizon. And I understand from emails, I got a friend that's down there that's away from home, getting emails from people that live in Santa Monica Canyon, and they said that the fire department put up a line of trucks, and I think they wanted to make it to stop the thing for sure, and get the thing so it wouldn't get into Santa Monica. And it was very refreshing.
Yeah, they're working overtime on that. That would be devastating, like something we've never seen. I mean, that is such a huge population center and such a big tourist attraction.
I'm right in the middle here, and I can't imagine that happening. But look what happened to the Palisades. It's like totally destroyed. It's unbelievable. Anyway, Randy, thanks for being there, man. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for the call, Joe. Appreciate it. Like, our firefighters are doing everything they can. The wind was so bad last night, we could not use any aircraft. And so the only way you could fight this thing was on the floor. And then the fire hydrants ran out of water, or there wasn't enough water pressure, or something happened. That we have to fix, because it's not like we're not going to get any more fires. This is a part of life in Los Angeles. I don't like it any more than you do. Actively thinking about, am I really spending the rest of my life in this city? I don't think so. That's another topic for another day, though. Let's go to Patrick in La Puente. Patrick, hello.
Good afternoon, Randy. How you doing?
Doing great.
It's a pretty tough day. I could chop on everybody from Gavin Newsom to Karen Bass to the DWP, all the people you mentioned on all the failures. But I think the reality is that, over 1,000 homes are burned, scorched the area the size of Ontario up in Palisades. It's just horrible. And I do believe that this is going to be impetus for change. I think those mega donors that like to virtue signal will now realize the reality is a better way to go, and to take care of the basic infrastructure, we need change.
I think this is a wake-up call for everybody in elected office, everyone who votes for people in elected office, and everyone who donates to someone in elected office. This is the most important thing, to make sure that we are protected from these kind of things that we know are going to happen on a regular basis. So it's budget season. Gavin's unveiling his big budget in January. Yeah. How about we build the reservoirs that we keep budgeting for? How about we prepare so there's enough water in the tanks to prepare that we might need to use 10 times the amount that we would use in a regular day because we're putting out a massive fire?
Exactly. I mean, it's common sense.
Thanks so much.
When common sense becomes uncommon, we have to do something.
You're totally right about that, Patrick. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Your thoughts on the devastating wildfires that have ravaged Los Angeles County. Let's go to David and Carson. David, hello.
How you doing tonight? So I've been fighting DWP for the last 4 months over a $700 water bill. So they can't tell me they don't have the money for water. They say I use that I say, what was it? 80,000 gallons of water in my home in 1 month. So where did this water go? That's number A. And letter 2, what's the California legislature going to do now? Pass a law against wildfires so it doesn't pollute our air?
Yeah, you know what? We're going to need to go after Big Fire.
Yeah. You know, they've already gone after the automakers. Oh, our air is so bad, we got to go electric. But then you have the power lines that are going to blow in the wind and cause the fire, so you have to go after Big Fire?
I'd love to see Rob Bonta at a press conference saying that he is suing the Palisades fire for polluting our air.
Yeah. Let's see what the legislators have to say. Thank you.
Well,
having a good evening.
Thank you so much for the call, David. Appreciate it. Now's the time to prioritize. This is what is most important. And it's not like we haven't been here before. We have devastating wildfires every single year. There haven't been that many specifically in the Los Angeles area in a few years, but they happen pretty regularly. And we should be doing everything we can to mitigate these things. There have got to be better ways to do this, especially when the winds are so bad that all the aircraft we buy isn't going to do anything. We can't just say this is it and give up because we just lost a major part of the city. Let's go to Bill in La Cañada. Bill, hello.
Hey, Happy New Year, Randy. Hey, I started to get weepy near the end of Bass's speech about all that togetherness. I was kind of waiting for her to sing Kumbaya. It was so emotional, which I understand it is, in fact, an African song. So maybe that's what she was doing over there, is learning Kumbaya. But two questions I would have for her related. She's so supportive of the fire department. Why doesn't she get rid of the homeless encampments? She has the legal authority on all fronts to do, and we know they're causing at least 50% of the fires that have already occurred before this one. We're probably going to find out that they caused on top of these two. And what about their Take One, Take Two homeless program? Who was taking care of those guys at the Getty House while she was in Africa? You know, those people that all the landlords should take.
It's a good point. That house was empty for a good week and a half. Bill, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. Yeah, one of the things that is 100% true, we don't know the cause of any of these fires yet, and we won't know for a little while. But what we do know is what Kristen Crowley, the LAFD chief, has said publicly, that 50% of fires started in Los Angeles, 16 a day sometimes, are started in homeless encampments. So, yeah, that's a huge fire risk, and that is going to be a big problem. It's also the insurance angle to all this, which is going to be a absolute nightmare. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. More of your calls coming up, and we'll see who's up next on this fantastic press conference. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.
What a wonderful way to start your day.
Karen Bass, welcome back to Los Angeles. How is Africa? It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're covering the devastating wildfires that have destroyed the Palisades, big parts of Altadena. There's that fire up in Sylmar. Apparently there's a new fire in the Hollywood Hills. So, oh my goodness. We're taking your phone calls, 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Tim in Woodland Hills. Tim, hello.
Yeah, hi, Randy. I really want to pat you on the back for what you're doing here. Really impressed with the intelligent approach. Yesterday, you were talking about that press conference with the fire chief gets up there and speaks, gives 98% of all the valuable information that is given during the entire press conference. The next person comes up and adds the other 2%. And then the governor and all the council members, the supervisors, waste everyone's time. Slow down the fire professionals that are there from getting back to their job. slow down the reporters from reporting the information the fire chief had given them. And in order for them to say this was a GR great, they are hurting things. And honestly, Randy, there's 1,000 plus, probably be more like 1,500 when this is all said and done, families who have lost their homes. There are people who have lost their lives. And in the face of that carnage, in the face of that destruction, they're worried about saying what a great leader Karen Bass is, and how everybody's just so great. And gee, I said that which must mean that I'm good too. And it's disgusting. I mean, I find it to be fundamentally disgusting. These people care more about their office than they do about really looking at what needs to be done and making sure that whatever problems we have in the future will be less than they were this time out. It's appalling to me. And once again, thank you for the work that you're doing.
Well, we'll keep uncovering it. I am shocked at this press conference that Karen Bass had. It was Karen Bass, then it was Catherine Barger. I figure, okay, now it's the fire chief. No, they go to Lindsay Horvath. Give me somebody who actually has some information. Tim, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. We don't need to hear politicians congratulating themselves. We need to hear the fire chief tell us when do we need to evacuate. More of your calls coming up. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.
No!
It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. Let's get back to the phones. Go to Louie in Walnut. Louie, hello.
Hey, Randy. How are you, buddy? Hey,
I'm doing great.
Is there any verification that these fires were started by a homeless person? Do we know that?
We don't know how the fires were started yet. What we do know is what the LAFD chief has told us in the past, that 50% of all fires in Los Angeles are started in homeless encampments.
So I think preventative measures are what we need. In other words, we need to do something about these homeless people. We need to find them shelter. We need to get them medical. We need to get them housed, or we need them in jail. We got to put them somewhere. We got to stop these fires.
I think leaving people on the street to their own devices, and whether it is fires to keep themselves warm, fires because they're smoking a pipe, or fires because, and this is true, sometimes to get revenge on another homeless person, they set each other on fire. There's way too many of these things, and when you have a high wind event, it just takes one. And that fire in the Palisades a couple years ago, that was started by a homeless arsonist. So yes, you're totally right. It's a massive fire danger, and we got to get everyone off the streets immediately. Louis, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Joe in L.A. Joe, hello. Joe? Joey.
Bill.
Hey, you're on the air. Yeah?
Is this Bill? Are you talking to Bill?
You're on the air, buddy.
Hello. I'm on the air. Well,
hello?
If it's me you're talking to. The whole situation is, yes, I think all our government representatives are garbage. But nobody can pass legislation to prevent this kind of thing. It would be like passing legislation and say everything has to be built to a 9.0 for an earthquake. People, you can't do it. This kind of fire with this kind of rain, what needed to happen was everybody knew the winds were coming. Everybody knew the probability of fires. They didn't call in all of the out-of-state fire people until after the fires got out of control. And then it takes them 3 or 4 days to get here. It should have been called first, start that paperwork, because they knew it was 100 miles an hour wind, that you can't legislate against the wind speeds. And there was
you're right about that. We cannot legislate against the wind speeds, but we can try to be more prepared when it comes to fire hydrants. And you're right, pre-calling outside fire departments when you know the wind's going to be this bad for 2 days, that's a good thing. Another thing, and this is something we all have learned, it's a tough lesson to learn. If you abandon your car because the fire is coming, leave your keys in because you're blocking the fire trucks. And that was a big problem in the Palisades. Thank you all so much. Hopefully we have a calmer night and we get a real good handle on this fire tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 for another News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.